Huh?
Internalized homophobia is when someone who is attracted to the same sex internalizes negative societal attitudes towards people who are also attracted to the same sex. This type of self hatred can lead to feelings of shame or fear, anxiety, depression, and have an overall negative impact on relationships with others. Filmmaker Destin Bourdon has taken these feelings, as well as insight from his own journey with internalized homophobia, to produce a story about Logan and the frightening realization that these homophobic biases need to stop.
So my name is Destin Bourdon, and I am the co-writer and director of the film. For me, it always started from like a writing perspective. I was always, when I was younger, writing short stories and things. And when I got a little bit older, it was kind of like, okay, what medium do I want to use? Right? And film was the one that just attracted me the most. And so that's just how it went off. And then, doing short films and then trying to get gigs here and um, you're just realizing that there are stories that I want to tell and I just got to go make those.
Now, this question wasn't on the list or anything, but I'm thinking of it now. What is filmmaking like in Oregon? Because you're in Oregon, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
what is the scene like there?
Um, it's definitely does depend on, I mean, it's similar to other filmmaking areas in that you have your slow periods and your busy periods. And, I've been in on a few things, but I haven't been on the bigger productions like some of my friends have here in the area. So I'll hear stuff from them about more about it. I'm very, very indie, very, I guess, novice in a way. But my specialty really is writing and in that essence, making my films. So my interest wasn't a whole lot of getting into, a specific job area on set because my focus was other places. But uh, it's definitely what you make it is what my friends will tell me. So yeah, well, first was really the realization of having internalized homophobia and how does one process that? And for me, it was easy because being a writer, it's like, well, I can write these thoughts down and I can kind of make a story that, while isn't technically based on a true story, it's based on some of my thoughts and some interactions that I've had. And once I kind of got done with writing, a lot of it was, well, I'm not going to make this movie because it's just too stressful. This isn't the subject matter I want to tackle. I don't want to have to constantly, I was worried I was going to get into this constant loop of internalized homophobia, but things started to shift and I felt myself starting to be more relieved and I wasn't dealing with these issues as much. And so I was thinking, well, this film could probably help other people, help them get over these same issues and hopefully faster than I did. I'm hoping that within 90 minutes, I mean, that the things that took me months will help others. And so I brought in a co-writer to help me flesh it out and make it the best script that it could be. And so uh, the themes really are, not worrying about putting yourself in a box or a label, just like you are just you. Like whatever that means to you, like don't worry about all that other stuff.
On on your Seed and Spark page, it says that you list this as a drama. But for me, anytime that you have some kind of Reaper figure, that automatically makes it horror.
Yeah.
So why horror?
Yeah, so this is one of those things where I love to blend genres, drama with something else. And drama and horror really is what this film is classified as. It's not your traditional horror, right? It's not a slasher movie. Um, it's definitely going for the more psychological aspect of horror, which isn't what I think people initially think of as horror. But yeah, so the Grim Reaper is a supporting character throughout this film and is very important. And the story is not necessarily in his lens, but the Reaper's role is, I've been doing this job for so long, and he's just tired of, taking people and there's a lot of emotion. And so he's like, I'm just going to help somebody out and improve their life before I have to take them, you know? And so initially it's like there is, that scary moment of them meeting, but then Logan, our main character in the Reaper, realizing that they're kind of the same person in a way. And then so there's that aspect and then the psychological horror aspect and with all the, the also drama. So that's how it blends together.
Horror is inherently political. Thinking on this election season and other movies that have come out surrounding these types of subjects, Spiral, They, Them, Immaculate, did our current era of politicizing these subjects, gender, sexuality, all that, did that play any role in this film, or did this just come about organically?
It's a great question. And there's a lot to unpack. Yeah, I think when I was writing the film, it was I was so kind of focused on I'm doing this to help me get better mentally that I wasn't considering some of the political factors until I brought in my co-writer and thinking about all these other films but doing horror these days, you have I would say every decade you get a new wave of a different type of horror. And so we're kind of in this horror wave of like you making something scary, but you can also say something, you know? And so I guess in a way, like I was already in that mentality, not realizing that. Today I'm Today I'm reflecting on it all a little bit differently than I have the last several months and even the last year since I've been writing it. So I'm still kind of processing like w- what this film means in the era that we're about to jump into. I'm hoping that this will be a good conversation starter for people to understand um, what it's like. I think a lot of films, when dealing with subjects like homophobia, is usually just homophobia. It's never internalized homophobia, which are very similar but two different things. And you know, I think working at that a little bit will help the conversation overall.
I wrote out these questions 2 days ago, and I actually thought about should I even ask this like today, but
It's a good question.
it's a good question. It needs to be it's life and it needs to be
Yeah,
talked about. I think that hope is the operative word here.
yeah, yeah.
We're all doing our best.
That's another thing is like I wanted to make a film that also like queer people are going to be happy about. I I was a little hesitant because the Reaper is in most of my work, but upon seeing this, nobody's going to know that, right? Because this is kind of me coming out of that gate a little bit. And so I was initially worried of that turning people off, thinking like, oh, now we're killing, gay people in the film. And it's not about that at all, because I think the Reaper's much more than that, and is in fact not a fan of that. And you see these in horror movies, and I wanted to do something but break that kind of that cycle as well. Um, but also have it, really be something that other people can connect to. And what seems like a certain type of movie on the surface ends up being something different and, is hopeful. Um, but it's weird to say that have the character of the Reaper and no one dies in the movie. I don't consider that a spoiler, but you know, it really does show that not everybody is exactly who they seem that they are.
So I see that you guys just wrapped up pre-production. Yes?
We're done with pre-production. I mean, there's a couple things that we have to do. So I guess we're not like fully wrapped, but um, script's done, the all the major casting's done. We have like our biggest location, which is like 60% of where the film's going to be shot. So all the big stuff is done. It's all the minor things. Still kind of working on those. But yes.
I've never heard of Seed and Spark. Only like bigger campaigning platforms, so Kickstarter, Indiegogo, that kind of thing. So how does this work exactly? Are you, if you don't make your goal, are you at risk of not making this movie at all? Or is it like a flexible thing where as much as you can get, anything helps?
They do have like you have to hit 80% of your goal in order to receive all the funds. So that was what we were kind of strategizing in the beginning, is like how much do we think we can realistically get? So we're not even counting like the post-production funds. We're just hoping that we'll get like a post-production grant or do a second campaign once we're like done, filming and such. Um, but yeah, that's how they work, from my understanding. But a lot of my friends have used it and have used it successfully. So that was kind of the decision making on that one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, today we hit 10% of our goal. So that's an accomplishment. We did that in like 10 days. So we have 35 days to go as of this recording. So that's, I consider that a win, just kind of chugging along. But yeah, we're hoping to do a live event somewhere in Portland. So we're still trying to figure out where we would want to do that and what we want to do. Um, as well as there's a whole like incentive page, if that you can click through if you want like an incentive, whether that's maybe promoting your own business, with like a social media like ad on our page, or um, having one of the character names changed to your name, some script feedback, or thanks in the credits, just little incentives for people, for when they pledge to our campaign.
Well, for all you people watching, a note from me to the audience, whoever is seeing this video, I will leave a link to the campaign page in the description, so check for that.
There's a couple. The last scene I'm really excited to shoot. I think for when I wrote that came together pretty easily, and I think it's the scene that has been like not touched at all in the rewrites. Another thing, there's a character named Jesse who whose outfit and makeup I'm really excited to get to, because it's going to be very um, just themed. It's a character that themes like their outfit and their makeup together. Um, so I think I'm really excited to see that character specifically come to the screen. But overall, it's just making the movie. I miss being on set, making films, editing, seeing the whole project come together. sharing it with others. I want to do what I can, right? You know, I want to try some festivals. I also want to get it. I'm a big Blu-ray collector, so I'll definitely have some of those made. Um, yeah, my goal is for as many people, of course, to see this as possible because that's what I want. I want this film hopefully to help others, and in order to do that, um, got to get eyes on it, right? So I want to try my best to take it as far as I can get it.
And what about after all this is finished, after it's gone out to as many people as possible, do you have any plans for future projects?
Always. That's the tough part is that I have too many ideas that I want, to make. And for me, I feel like a lot of philosophy, and this is something that I learned when I came up here, is, trying to go to networking events. Everyone was always working like, oh, what are you going to do next? And it's like, well, I just started this project. How am I, I'm going to be a completely different person by the time I'm done with this. You know, I, I did not think that this was the film I was going to do until I decided to do it. It was going to be a different project. And so, but that aside, I do have one or two ideas that I'm really leaning towards, and I'm excited for that. So there is a future, there is um, more, but I do take the philosophy of like if I can only make one more movie, what is that film that I need to do, you know? So and that's a hard um, it's not an easy question. I mean, I just want to shout out my crew who helped me with the proof of concept, and my producer who's helping me, get this film together, and really everyone who's donated so far. I mean, that means a lot. Even if we don't make our goal, the fact that there are people who do support our campaign and want to see this film, that does mean a lot, and especially for a film that I would felt like I was just gonna lock away and, kind of push aside to it becoming what it is now, which is, hopefully helping other people. So in that way, it's already rewarding. But yeah, everybody, and even just being on the podcast, like that, things like that is what's really, what I appreciate.